Hi, I'm Jenny from the plot, and this is my allotment. Welcome to my lady garden. It's all starting to look a little wild and dishevelled at the plot at the moment, and things are definitely starting to pack up. Some of the plants seem to be dying off and coming to an end. So let's run round and harvest what we can while we still can. The courgettes have had a little bit of a resurgence since I took all their powdery mildew leaves off. So first of all, we've got a Romanesco here. From the plants that Jason gave me. So thank you very much, Jason. That looks amazing. And Clive is not giving up. Another thing that really needs packing up is my bunting. The poles keep falling over. I don't think it's a good idea having it strung down the length of my plot like this, because every time I move around the plot, I'm tripping over it, or I'm having to duck under it, or I'm getting garroted by it. So next year, when I put up my bunting, I think I'm going to go for shorter lengths and more specific areas where it won't get in the way, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it all down and I'm going to cut it into 4 short lengths. Scissors. Oh, the other thing I've noticed about this bunting is that because it's been in the sunshine, it's got quite faded, like the colours have faded quite a lot. So I had this idea. I know it's a daft one. It's a daft idea, as per usual. I thought maybe I could have a go at dyeing my bunting to kind of rejuvenate it and brighten it up a little bit. And I thought maybe I could have a go at using some of the things on the plot to dye my bunting. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I did have a look online as to how to do it and what would work best. And I know it works best if the fabric that you're dyeing is cotton or a natural fabric, and if it's white. Now, I don't know if this is cotton, probably not, and it's definitely not white. So it may not work. I'm not expecting dramatic results, but you never know. And if you don't try, then you don't know. And at least if it fails miserably, then you'll all know not to bother. So I'm going to cut it into 4 lengths, and then we need to harvest some ingredients to make our natural dyes. I'm going to leave one bit undyed as a control, because obviously this is a very scientific experiment. Well, apparently calendula and marigolds make a lovely golden yellow dye. We shall see. But I've certainly got enough of them, so I'm going to harvest some calendula flowers and maybe some marigold flowers as well, and yeah, give it a go. I'm wearing my gloves because calendula is very sticky. I have been meaning to harvest these beetroot for so long, and now feels like a good excuse. I know some of the ones in here are those stripy ones, so if I pull up some stripy ones I will eat them, but if they're the regular kind of red variety, they're really good for making a pinky red dye. Have I got enough? If some of those are stripy, maybe I ought to harvest some more in the other bed. Let's go and do that. Well, this looks more like it. Let's have a go. Ooh, ooh, you've got tangled up with your friend there. Let's see if I can get you apart. Yes! And I'm pretty sure that's a red one, so that's going to make some excellent dye. Right, we are back at the root veg bed. This time I'm going to harvest some carrots because apparently carrot tops make a green dye, a kind of greeny yellow hue, apparently. So I'm going to harvest some carrots, plus I have a vast pot of hummus at home that is just begging for some carrot dunkers. So I get 2 for 1, right? Carrot sticks for me, carrot tops to dye the bunting with. Oh, look, the slugs have been at them. There's a little slug sitting in a hole. Ah, you absolute... I mean, they're not terrible. Some are good. And as I say, some are just weird. Now, that one's split as well. Why do carrots split? Let me know in the comments. Have I left them in too long? What is it with the wonky veg? The upshot is I've got loads of carrots, most of them wonky, most of them intact, a few casualties, but that's okay. And I'm going to take the carrot tops home for dye and the carrots home for me. And we'll see what happens. Well, I have been boiling all afternoon. First, I boiled the bunting in a solution of vinegar and water, which made my entire flat smell like a chip shop. Then I put the dye ingredients into separate saucepans with some water. And I boiled those for an hour. Then I strained the dye onto the wet fabric and boiled it again. There was a lot of boiling. There was a lot of boiling. And to be honest, by the end, there was not very much dye left. Like, there was barely enough to kind of even cover half the fabric because obviously as it was boiling off, it was just reducing right down. So I think if you were going to do this properly, you would need to make a really good amount of dye to begin with. Anyway, I expect you'd like to see the dramatic results. So here is my control bunting. And here is the bunting that I used the calendula dye on. Can we see a difference? Maybe a very slight one. Now, just to show that it's probably just the fabric, I found a piece of white muslin at home and cut it up and put it through the same treatment so that you could really see the difference. So this is the original colour, and this is the calendula dye. I suppose you could say it's a sort of off-white. Not a huge success, but let's move on to the next one. Now, the carrot tops, I thought, would not stand a hope in Hades of doing anything. But actually, I don't know if you can see, they are definitely like a pale green colour. And if I show you the muslins, look, there's the original. And that's the carrot top dye. It's definitely done something. Will I notice it, the subtle shade of green when they're flapping in the breeze? No, probably not. And the final one was the beetroot dye. Now, I was sure this would be really vibrant because, you know, when you cut up a beetroot, you end up with everything's purple, right? But to be honest, it's made a bit of a difference. And some of the bunting did definitely get more colour than others, but not huge. I think because after you dye the fabric, you have to rinse it in water, and a lot of the beetroot colours seem to come out in the water. So anyway, so here's the compare and contrast with the muslins. If you were going to do it properly and you made yourself a decent quantity of dye, it did suggest online that you then leave the fabric in the dye to soak overnight after you've kind of heated it up. And I suspect that would probably have resulted in a stronger colour, but we live and we learn, right? Was it worth it? Well, yeah, it was kind of interesting, right? I mean, who knew that carrot tops would make a green dye? Would I do it again? No. Basically, no. I spent the entire afternoon boiling stuff. My takeaway advice for you today is, if you want to dye something, go down the shop and get yourself some Dylon. There you go. Take care, and I will see you next time. Bye.